here's Brody Brazil.
Okay, I need to warn you about this video. In just a second, Connor Bedard is going to be on your screen, and at the very same time, you're going to see a Sharks logo. Yeah, there it is. Now, I'm not here to promise you anything. I'm just here to say, after a struggling campaign, it would be a reward to get Connor Bedard with the #1 pick in the NHL draft, but it requires so many things to go right for San Jose or anybody else to get that opportunity. So do not put all of your eggs into this basket. But in this video, I'll talk about Connor coming to San Jose or the other bottom 4 franchises in the NHL standings right now. My thoughts on Connor going to all 5 of these different locations. As a Sharks person, yes, I would absolutely love to see this. And a small consolation, like I said, for the season and really the last 4 years that they've been having turnover, transition. Were we lucky enough to have generational players like Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau for a long time in San Jose? Yes, absolutely. But watching Patty get his jersey retired recently really made me understand that that's kind of what this franchise needs next. And of course, a team is more than just that one generational player, but let's be honest. The Penguins, the Capitals, the Edmonton Oilers, they've had respective levels of success with their superstar player that is surrounded by a complement of other top performers. And I think that would be the case with Connor Bedard. Again, he'll be young when he definitely enters the NHL next year for some team, but I think it's a foundational project for the San Jose Sharks. If you were to land somebody like this, he is your next, obviously, generational player, and you do owe it to him and the franchise to start building around him. But again, I'm not saying you intentionally tank. No player will do that. No coach will do that. The team has been positioning themselves before the trade deadline to better themselves down the road. That's not tanking. If they suffer in the remaining stretch of this season, that's part of the process. That is not tanking. I do want to be clear on that. But I also want to be very forthright. As time goes on, and I see how this season has been, and how much this one young man from Canada could come here and dramatically kickstart the franchise, yeah, of course I'm excited. Of course this is something that I'd love to entertain. By the way, if you finish 32nd in the league this year, it only guarantees you a 25.5% chance at drafting first and likely drafting Connor Bedard. But let's say he doesn't come to San Jose. Let's say he goes to the Desert Dogs. My thoughts on that. Okay, really? So you've got Connor Bedard on a team that doesn't even hit the salary cap floor. They have to acquire players so that they can pay them just to get up to that listed number. They're playing right now in Tempe, not at their new barn, which, by the way, they will have. I think that's to be decided in just a couple weeks. But right now they're playing on the campus of ASU, a 5,000-seat venue. So you're going to bring in the top prospect of the draft and into the league, and that's where he's going to play 41 of his home games in a market that's, look, it's a good market. I'm not here to talk badly about Arizona. I go there all the time for spring training. I know they can get behind this team if it were competitive. And maybe Connor Bedard is exactly what that team needs. But then again, haven't they had their chances over the years with high draft picks and mistakes made, and they can't exactly keep it together? And look, this arena deal, it's also not 100% certain yet. I have a good feeling about it, but anyway, of course, you're realizing the theme here. I'm going to hope that he comes to San Jose. I'm here to just talk you through this as a Sharks guy with all the other teams. So Arizona wouldn't be the worst, at least, right? At least they're not in the Sharks division anymore. But this is a different story. Bedard to the Ducks. Haven't they got enough young talent lately with a lot of flash? And haven't they been fortunate enough over the years? Granted, maybe the same thing could be said about the Sharks, but having Bedard in the Pacific Division, if you're San Jose, and basically guaranteeing that for the first 7-8 years of his career, it's kind of a nightmare scenario. I'll be very honest with you. This is one of the places I don't want him to go, right? And seeing Anaheim in the bottom 5 teams of the standings, it's a distinct possibility. They're also trying to retool their franchise just like the Kings and Sharks. All the California teams were at the top of the list in the 2010s. Here we are in the 2020s, and they're kind of paying the price for all of that winning. So selfishly, and I'm not going to put too much more analytics into this, I just do not want to see Bedard go to the Ducks. There's other teams I would roll my eyes at, but this is a team I do not want this to happen. Now I'm scared that this clip might come back and bite me in the summer when the lottery is announced and who gets the picks where, and eventually when the draft happens in June. But here's a team that I would be interested to see if he goes there. Because Columbus, right? You got Patrick Laine, you got Johnny Hockey, and Columbus has been the cellar dweller of the standings this season so far. Columbus? What's going on with you guys? And they still sell the building out. It's mind-boggling. How do you have some players like that? You're trying to turn things around. And I said this before on television. I'll say it again here on YouTube. Columbus, if you get Connor Bedard, what are you going to do with him? Yeah, that's not nice. I totally understand. But they don't have a track record of building powerhouse teams. I know they haven't been around the longest, but there's no history for Connor Bedard to go to that franchise and think, oh, I'm here, great. Can they build around me? Can they build a championship team, a Stanley Cup team around me year after year after year? I don't know that the answer is yes. I'm actually here to say the answer is probably no. So it would be, if I'm looking at it from the league perspective, this might be the market, and that's part of it too, the market. This might be the place that the NHL does not want Connor Bedard to go. I'm here to say that if he's going to get buried somewhere and if he can't come to San Jose, yeah, you know what? Fine. Let's bury him in Columbus. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying, like, let's have him not play against the Sharks 4 and 5 times a year and hurt the Sharks for a decade to come. Here's the location, though, that I will definitely roll my eyes at. If Connor Bedard goes to Chicago, wait a second. On the heels of winning all the cups that they did last decade, on the heels of having Seabrook and Keith and Taves and Kane all those years, right? And now Patrick Kane gets traded to the Rangers. And Jonathan Taves, by the way, I wish you the best with your health conditions. I know it's been a struggle and a continuation, but maybe the captain doesn't return fully next year or ever. I don't know. I hope for him the best that he does. But would Chicago, on the heels of losing their Batman and Robin, so to speak, oh, well, here's your consolation. Here's Connor Bedard. What? That would be way too lucky, way too fortunate. I would be way too bitter at that. Full disclosure, yeah. I guess I'm glad you're not in the Sharks division, but still, it would not be preferable. Chicago as a destination. And again, I feel bad now. I said, Columbus, he'll get buried there, okay? But it's just, he won't have an impact against the Sharks or the rest of the league if he's in Columbus. In Chicago, okay, they might know how to build around him again. And here we go again. We got to deal with Chicago being good for the rest of the 2020s because of this draft pick. So I can't really say I would love seeing Connor Bedard in Chicago. But I do know this. June 28th, 2023 is when one team will officially pick him. Now, we don't know when the lottery draft is going to take place. There's not, as far as I understand, a specified date for that yet. It definitely happens after the regular season concludes for this year. So I think it'll be in May, but I'm not exactly sure when or where that's going to take place, because that's really the big thing. Whoever pulls that ping pong ball for number one and they flash the card, that team is getting this young man on June 28th, 2023. I don't think there's any question about it. Connor Bedard going number one. That's it for this video. Glad you were here. Thumbs up on it if you enjoyed it, if it provided you some value or at least entertainment. And don't forget, subscribe to this channel. Shark stuff, A's stuff. I've got lots more coming your way in the very near future. See you next time.